Alright, so today we are going to play a little bit around with a softer stone that I have in my collection, which is from the Takashima mine. This is a Iromono, kind of reddish yellow tome. This was cut by a guy named Metal Master from Japan years and years and years ago, when he used to sell more in American markets versus just in Japan now. It's a huge koppa. This will last a lifetime, but considering how soft this stone is, it's really necessary. As you can see, there's a lot of red, yellow, and pinkish hues to it. Almost Damascus kind of patterning. And it's self-slurries, so it's really easy to use. And for in the case of this knife, where there's a little bit of faceting, it makes the kusumi polish all the more easier to produce. It's a thirsty stone, so it takes a little bit of water to get going, but once you go, it takes off. So there's no slurry raised on this. The surface was flattened with a diamond plate and then burnished over with a nagura, tomoe nagura. Now this leaves a brighter polish. The wetter I keep it, less mud, which is detrimental to covering faceting, but it brings out more details. I'm just checking that out right now, and then once it dries up, I can then show how it's a muddy monster. Takashima are generally very user-friendly stones. A softer mine. So I had even gotten a little bit of oxidation on this knife the other night using it to cut a pork loin. By oxidation I mean patina. So typically I like to bring a finish with a muddier surface before I go to a all-water brighter polish. So I'm kind of doing the opposite right here, but it's a lot easier to demonstrate the stone right now before all the mud is generated versus after, when it'll start taking on, slight dips and everything that will require me to lap the surface down, which I don't really have out here with me at the moment, but you get the point. Now this is a very silky stone, which is another characteristic of stones from this mine. The feedbacks, it tends to be very silky. And this one doesn't scratch at all. I mean, you could close your eyes and polish with this stone, really. And as you can see, it's starting to dry up a little bit. And you see a lot of the metal shavings in the swarf. I would say this stone's about 50 millimeters thick. I haven't measured it in a long time. I don't recall. But a lot to play with. Yep, starting to get drier. I haven't applied any water to it. That facet is quickly disappearing. Don't want it to get too dry. As you can see here, the high spots are starting to disappear. Still some work to go. But a really nice finish, honestly. Of course, spinning more than a couple minutes, you gotta refine it and it'll get better. A little bit of water. And there's the sound of summer right there. It's my AC unit turning on to cool off the house. Although it is just a good, I would say 85, 90 degrees today, not too bad. Easy for an outdoor polishing session before I have to study for an exam. Get that heel. This stone's so easy to use. Very few stones that are this easy. That's a beautiful finish developing. Very silky finish, honestly. I don't know if that can be picked up in the camera or not, but I really enjoy this finish in sunlight. Make sure I get that coarse steel. That coarse steel polishes really well with the stone too. So with your softer stones, it is so much easier to polish that coarse steel than it is with harder stones. With harder stones, you're going to tend to get grabby. It's going to scratch. But with softer stones, that hard steel is eaten away like no one's business. I mean, you do that anyway. If you think of the way a sword polisher has to match uchigomori to katana, to the different steels, depending on the hardness of the steel, the era that the sword was made, which dictates where the ore sources came from for the furnaces, and even where the furnaces were set up. Different areas of Japan had slightly different methods of making tamahagane, and over time this yielded swords made by different smiths that demonstrate a different, I guess, polishing challenges to each stone. So it takes a person who practices a lot, a Takeshi, that spends their life mastering the process to figure that out. And so you can take some of those lessons learned, where they will typically find a softer uchi for some of the harder steels, or vice versa. Whatever they can get to match the steel to the stone to polish correctly. and by polishing correctly could be what stone brings out the hada better, or which one gives a good polishing experience. A lot of times they're hand in hand. A poor polishing experience is a lot of times because you're just using the wrong stone. With Sanmai, you have more variety. You're always dealing with a soft jacket and a hard steel. There's still variety in jackets, like this is 1018 mild steel, but it differs from wrought iron on stones. Different stones will polish wrought iron differently than this. And even some of my homemade irons and steels, they polish differently on stones. Different coarse steels don't really matter too much, as they're all typically really hard. So 62, 63 plus always. Anyway, I mean, that was just a few minutes on a Takashima to remove oxidation and to even out the bevel some. I'd like to do more stones out here in this beautiful weather where I have daylight. You know, I think it makes a difference. And probably think of a game plan of conversations to have if that's interesting. So yeah, if you guys like that, I'll definitely try to do it more often. But as for today, I think that's it. Later.